Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that nothing happens um, without purpose, and there's no such thing as coincidence, and there's no such thing as mistakes. And we are here to talk with you about our experience in that. And my name is Deb Miller.
Hi, I'm Susan Doyle. Hey Deb, what's going on?
Nothing, I'm just kind of adding, you know, words onto our opening. I just figured.
It's all right.
If
It's
I
all
can't
right.
remember a word, I'm just going to make it up and add it
Hey,
in
I know,
because
right? Why
we don't,
not?
we're not editing anything and we're just being ourselves. And that's part
Yes.
of who I am.
And we certainly do not have the technological prowess to go back and change what you said. So
So
let's
it's just
just, let's just leave it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So had a little snow last night, but it actually is beautiful out. So after we hit stop on the record button, I'm going to go out and clear the back deck and maybe take the dog running through the woods for a little bit.
how much snow did you get?
More than I expected. I think like 3 or 4 inches, but
Wow.
it's kind of warm. I mean, warm for here. It's like mid to upper 30s. I think tomorrow's going to be like in the 40s and raining, so it'll probably be gone. But there's
Well,
a nice fresh coat out there today.
nice. Okay, so I just had this memory pop into my head when you
Oh,
said
jeez. Oh, God. Here we go.
snow and back deck. So we're going to rewind
Oh my God, are
and
we going to talk
reflect a
about the
little
nip
bit.
slip?
So we,
Oh my
I lost
God.
when I was
And it
growing
was
up.
February. I can remember it. We were on February vacation in
Uh,
high school.
yeah,
Yes.
but
And here's
we were
what's so funny. Go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no. So I'm just going to set the scene. So at the house that I grew up in, we had this ginormous back deck, and and I know you and I were probably freshmen at this time because
Yeah.
we would have got like the other years we went away on spring break, like when we went down to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. 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 Yep.
So fresh,
Okay.
probably our freshman year. And Sue and I were such sun goddesses. We
Okay. Don't say was because I still am,
well, and
unfortunately. You have probably learned your lesson. I have not, but okay, so keep going. We were like we're talking baby oil, tin
yeah.
foil, the whole nine. As soon as it was warm enough to sit outside, we were out there.
So it was February and there's snow but the sun is shining. So we're
And it was
like,
actually pretty warm. Like it was not freezing cold.
no, but there was snow.
There was a complete, yeah, because this, and I remember specifically saying to you, "Oh my God, let's go out there. The snow is such a great reflector." Oh God, go
So of
ahead.
course you didn't, it's not like you brought your bathing suit over or anything. So we went out and I don't know, maybe a tank top or something. I don't know what you were wearing, but
I remember specifically it was like a flash dance
oh
sweatshirt.
yes, that's right. That's
And
right.
so we had like sweatpants on. I had the flash dance sweatshirt like pulled down and tucked in so it would stay down. So I would have my chest and my face because like we weren't wearing short sleeves to
Yeah.
school or anything. Yeah. Hmm.
Right. And so we're out there and you probably remember this better than I do. I don't know. You turned a certain way or stood up or something and
Yeah.
your came
I
right
stood
out of
up. I stood up and it was still tucked in like really tightly. So I stood up and both of my tits come flying out of the top. And let me tell you something, they were not big. They're still not big. They were never big. Come out of the top of the flash dance sweatshirt, and I look through the sliding glass door, and your brother is standing right there. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. To this day, he does not remember that that happened because I asked him that. Remember? I'm like, do you remember the nipple? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uh,
I was mortified,
oh, I will never forget that
but
either.
could not stop, could not stop laughing. Yeah.
Well, when you
It
go out,
was it was the flash dance nip slip incident.
Hey, the flash dance nip slip incident. You're
Oh
right. Yeah, that was a
God.
memory that I hold on to because it was
Yes.
hilarious. And my
It was
brother,
hilarious.
it's like, he was a typical teenager, like, checking everything out and
He's
wondering
like, what do you like? First, I'm sure he was looking outside thinking we were freaking nuts because we were
right.
sunbathing in the
Oh,
middle of
we
February in a
were
snow pile.
absolutely being judged by him. Absolutely
Yes.
100% by him.
But look at him. He got a nip in the eye.
He did. He did. So when you go out there today, you just keep in mind, don't wear,
Yeah.
you know.
So, so here's this is perfect for something that's been on my mind that I want to talk about. So here's the deal. Like back then,
Mm,
nobody documented any of this, right? It's not on the internet forever and ever. Amen.
right.
I'm sure I can find some, 110 film that we had to drive up to the little Kodak thing
Oh
and then
yeah.
they wouldn't develop the pictures that they thought were
Pornographic.
like racy, right? And I was watching, I think I was scrolling through social media, which is what I want to get to, and I see this woman who was at the Grammys last night. I did not watch because I don't know any of the artists. And frankly, I think, I just like to see what people are wearing, right? And she is Kanye West, I think, significant other now, who,
Yeah.
I am
I
not a
see
huge
that.
fan of him. And she has a strapless seat, it looked like she took a roll of saran wrap
Yeah.
and wrapped it around her body. And she is there the, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is forever
Yeah.
forever on the
Yeah.
internet. So I always thank God that we grew up in such an innocent time.
I
It
know.
really was such an innocent time. And I often wrestle with social media, the internet, things of that nature. And my kids are like smartphones weren't um invented until they were almost out of high school.
Mm,
So I didn't have that concern really. Um, However, Facebook had started when they were younger, and I just remember being always very leery of it, very like to this day, I will not fill out like a medical portal online. I will call the doctor. I will make them, yeah. It's
wow.
weird. It's kind of weird. So, I remember when my kids were young and a family member on my ex-husband's side posted a picture, very innocent picture. It was a family picture on Facebook and wrote their names.
Mm.
And I went ballistic
Oh shit.
because I didn't want, it was way too new. I knew nothing about it. I did know or that whatever was put on there would be accessible for the rest of their lives.
Hmm.
I also didn't want anybody taking their faces and superimposing it on something. I went nuts. I made her take it down. I went crazy. Um, and so I find myself sort of wrestling with, I do like scrolling through social media because it has allowed us, especially us, to um, reconnect with some people
Hmm.
that I thought I'd never hear from again or see from again. Are some people that you connect with where you're like, oh, I didn't really realize it was that public. Um, I don't, and here's the other thing. I don't ever get my news, quote unquote, from social media, but I don't watch the news a ton. Um, and so I've been thinking lately, like, if it would be healthy to kind of take a break from it.
Mm.
Have you ever done that? Just taking, like, shut it off, just taking a break from it?
No,
Where
I
are you in your social media usage?
Well, I am I have to be somewhat involved because of the promotion of the book and a promotion of this podcast. But I am the first to admit that I enjoy social media. I love TikTok because I just find I'm like the animal browser. Like I love watching funny animal videos, and it just makes me laugh out loud. So it's a good kind of release for me. But
Hmm.
um I I truly okay, so let me take a step back. I was at my spiritual guide session yesterday, and the message was loud and clear that when we watch social media and we watch the news and we're hearing all of the things that are really invoking so much fear inside of people and reactivity and making things so much worse, like it lowers our vibration. And we always want our vibration to be really high because that's
I
how we
agree.
attract positive things. And so even if I have the news on and I'm not sitting in front of it watching it, it's still getting into my subconscious. And I don't want it there. I don't want it there
Yeah.
because it is everybody, our earth and this world and our country is in such turmoil right now. And I am the type of person, I'm such a sponge that I will react to that negativity in a way that I'll be like, oh my God, the the sky is falling. Cause that's just the type of person I am. I get really easily influenced by things. So
Hmm.
I have to really protect myself like that. Um, so as far as the news goes, and I really feel like we're being manipulated in so many different areas through the news and news outlets. So I have made a commitment to not watch the news. Social media, I'm still a part of. Um, Facebook, I do like because I like to, keep in
Yeah,
touch with
me too.
people,
I do.
and Instagram. And quite honestly, like Kevin and I, my significant other, like we connected during in Facebook after 30 years of being, out of high school. And
Yeah.
that was a positive thing for me. That probably would have never happened if we didn't have that. And I understand what you're saying about the kids, especially when they were young and Facebook was new. Um, yeah, I can definitely understand that. But I will tell you that when Hunter was going through his stuff, uh, it was a really, I got a lot of support and kind words and
Hmm.
just lifting up by the people that were reaching out to me. And so that was to me was a positive thing. And so I have mixed feelings. Now, so I won't just turn it off. I won't just turn off the social media
I
thing.
don't think I will either. I don't think I will either.
But I will
Because I
not,
don't feel like I abuse it,
yeah,
but I
right.
do sometimes feel like it makes me dumber. And I feel like I go down these rabbit holes, like I'm on it, I'm scrolling, and I'm like, and then the next thing you know, it's 20 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's so easy to get into that. But I make sure I'm in the algorithm of just stupid funny stuff. Like I'm not going to
Hmm.
listen to, political rants on there or anything. I don't want anything to do with that. And I do believe that if there's something that I need to know urgently, that information is going to make its way to me in another way aside from just watching the news. So, because somebody said to me once, well, I just, I don't want to be sucked into that, but I also don't want to be ignorant to what's going on in the world. And
And I agree
I,
with that too, because
yeah,
when yeah, and I feel like if somebody asks me a question, you know, or wants to engage in a conversation that I feel as though I would engage in, I do want to feel educated, or I want to feel at least like I knew something happened or whatever, you know. Um, yeah, I get that. I get that. You know, it's interesting though, what I have found as of late, which has helped me a little bit. So when I used to walk the dog, or when I do walk the dog, typically I'll plug in a podcast, which by the way, I don't have not listened to hours, I'm afraid. I
At
know,
all?
right? Not at all. Not at all. I throw it out there, and you know, I know that I'm doing the best I can and I don't want to overanalyze it. I will at some point.
Come to think of
Um,
it, I haven't either. I listened to one because I was afraid that we were reposting two of the same
same
episodes.
one.
I listened to halfway through one until I real one of the episodes till I realized it was not duplicated, but I really haven't listened I haven't listened either.
But what I have done lately is leave my phone to not listen to a podcast and just be outside and
Yeah.
hear the sounds of nature, really feel myself breathing the fresh air, um, to gain perspective that if I have exposed myself to something that's not super helpful for me or positive for me, it's a way to clear. It's a way to clear out space in my head with just simply being quiet.
Yeah.
You know, lately I've been going in the woods with him, so I feel I really feel like
Yes.
I'm in nature.
That's exactly what she was saying last night. My spirit teacher. So she said, go into nature, connect with people with nature. Don't get sucked into that. But here's the thing. I will tell you that I posted once on Facebook something like, if you want to know what it feels like to be addicted to something, turn your phone off for 24 hours and see how many times you think about that. Think about turning it on or wanting to turn it on, or how anxious you get because it's not right there for you. And I don't know if I could do that. I feel like I have a little bit of a dependency on the phone, which includes social media, texting, all of that. So,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I,
Yeah, I have to say that one of the things that I did for myself after I lost my job a few years ago, and I had my work email on my phone, I vowed that I would never do that again.
mm,
And so with this new position, I have not downloaded, the Teams app. I have not put the my email on my phone, which has been a huge contribution to me being present
oh,
once my workday is over. It's been great. It's been
yeah.
great. No, there is nothing. I am not a heart surgeon. I am not a rocket scientist. I am not a oncologist. Nobody needs me.
No,
I
you're not
am
an
not going to solve
OBGYN,
any problems from 5:01 to 7:59 the next day.
right? You're not delivering babies or anything.
No, nope, not doing that either. So, yeah, they get me, and that's been really, really a positive thing for me, a positive thing.
So,
And the other thing is coming from a space, so I feel as though social media or platforms of that nature have given people permission in their own minds to just whip something off behind a keyboard without having to, really show their face, or give more importantly, giving them permission to say something in a typed word that
mm,
they would never say to somebody's face.
oh yeah, they
And so
hide.
that's the other thing, that I would do. Like, perfect example is birthdays on Facebook. If I have that person's cell phone number in my contacts, I will text them a happy birthday offline.
Yeah.
So but I mean, that's a kind of a positive thing, but I just feel as though not everybody, not everybody deserves a voice. You know what I
Well,
mean? I think we need to work a little harder than social media allows us.
yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It can be very dangerous,
Hmm.
and it can be, but there's the power of free speech, you know,
You're
and
right. You're right.
that can be really, really incredible and helpful and useful, or very, very dangerous. And you gotta, it really comes down to what type of person you are and what things you want to share with the world. And you can either choose to share light and love, or darkness and hate. And some people just, that's what they want to do, and that's between them and their higher power, you know.
Agreed. I do agree with you there. I'm not really sure. It's easier for me to sit here and say my kids are 30 and 28. They're adults, and we didn't have this to really wrestle with when they were growing up. I
Yeah,
don't know what I would do now. I don't know if I would post pictures of my kids, or I don't know if I would take a stance on anything, or how much I would allow them to be exposed to, if I would have I don't know. I really don't know. It's really hard.
it is really hard. And what crushes my soul is all the social media, and the power it has over the teenagers and the young ones, and how easily their feelings can get hurt if they're not included in anything, or if there's mean people on there. It's a weapon, and it should
Yeah.
happen. It shouldn't be used as a weapon, but it is.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's really tough. So the answer, this long answer to my question is no, you've never really taken a break.
No,
Neither have I. So
I
what do
don't
you
think
think?
I could take a break. That's the
Oh,
scary
I
part.
think you could. But here's the other thing. I love posting, once a week that we've uploaded, and people are, liking and reaching out, and I wouldn't want to miss that. I wouldn't want somebody to feel like I did not notice, or we
Right,
didn't notice that they watched or made a
right.
comment or something like that. You're right. It's
It can be used
hmm.
in a really positive way. And, let's face it, when you create something that you want to share with the world because you feel like it might, in your little way, be able to make the world a better place, you're very vulnerable doing that. It makes you
Agreed.
very vulnerable. And like when I, published my memoir, it was like I just put it right out there for everybody to see, people I know and people I don't, and a lot of people that responded to me were absolutely shocked at how much I shared. And that makes you very vulnerable. But
Yeah, and vulnerability is not necessarily a bad. I mean, yes, sometimes you can just hit share and like put the phone down and walk away because so you don't change your mind, and it is an unbelievable platform for
right,
that to reach people, or to you know make a difference, make an impact, share your storage, share your message in a really, really helpful, positive way. um
right. But so for people to go, so when you're feeling like a little insecure, vulnerable, transparent, and you're like, I don't know how this is going to be received, to hear from people like, your book really opened my eyes to this, that, and the other thing, or like get that positive in your, and I'm like, good. So all of that is worth it.
hmm
If just one person gains
hmm
from it. And
yeah.
and so um it can be positive, it can be worked positively like that. Like a lot of people they like the podcast, and they're
Yes.
saying good things about it. And I've had a handful of people say, "Hey, can I be a guest on your podcast?" So we're gonna
Yeah.
do that, which is great. And how else would we know that unless we were hearing it on through the posts that we're sharing?
Right. I think taking micro breaks are, I think, very doable.
Mm.
You know, spend 30 minutes outside with
Oh.
nothing, just the sound of nature, the fresh air, wherever you live. Um, have a cutoff point maybe during the day, so like I typically, once my husband and I are settled in for the evening, like we'll have dinner together, the phones do not, nothing comes on the dinner table but food, utensils. Sometimes we have some music playing, you know, and when we sit down to watch TV, which is typically, we're very early riser, we're very early people. Um, the phones are on the counter someplace else, and we're either watching a show together. We typically like play Jeopardy and stupid stuff like that, but which is fun for us. The phones are not there. So, um, but here's the other thing. Like again, it's a way to connect with people, but I feel as though like at 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, I'm not connecting well. I'm not making good decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think I think it also it kind of leads back to what we talked about last week or the week before about, practicing the pause, like, making space between the stimulus and your response.
Right.
So I feel like it can get you into trouble when you read something that really, causes a visceral reaction that all you want to do is just either slam the person or, even in the positive things, like, you know, just practice a pause, have a moment that you
Yeah.
take a deep breath before you respond or react.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is this what you actually want to put out there? Do you know what I mean?
Want to give your energy to it. So many
Correct.
people I feel like are trying to rope us into, getting on their bandwagon for this, that, or the other thing. And I just don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
but this is, I'm going to tell you why I know that I'm a little bit, addicted to the phone because if the phone for me was on the counter and I was in the other room, I'd panic. I'd be like, oh my God, where's the phone? And then I'd have to have it near me. Now, when we sit down and watch TV at night, we've got something on the television, but that's my time to play my little games to make sure.
Oh, okay, so I will, all right, so readily admit, like if he's watching a sporting event that I'm not interested in, I will be playing solitaire or cribbage or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the time that I play my games. And Kevin, believe it or not, right, wrong, or indifferent, like he gets he loves to read articles on his phone, like from the New York Times or whomever. Like he doesn't do it on his computer. He doesn't get the physical thing. So he's always like reading things or whatever. So that's just the dependency we have on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if I don't have know it's like close by, I do panic a little bit. So I think I just need a detox from that, but I'm
Do you
afraid.
sleep with it by your bedside?
Yes, because it's my alarm clock and it's my noise machine sometimes.
Oh,
But I'm not
I
on.
still have
Yeah,
I still have an old-fashioned alarm clock.
you do. If
I
I
leave
had
my
one,
phone.
yeah, no,
I leave
I.
my phone in the kitchen. Again, it's one of those things that,
What if?
people are like, well, what if your kids need you? I'm like, there's nothing I can do for my children at 2 a.m. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I always have had it close because I'm concerned all will come through. But all right, let me just tell you this at the same time. I shut my ringer off. So if somebody calls me in the middle of the night, I'm not going to
Yeah,
know.
but I think if they call us several times in a row, it'll finally go through, I think.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I
I
didn't
think
know.
so. I think one of my kids told me that. I
But
mean,
Kevin,
Sean uses his phone for an alarm clock.
yeah, and Kevin does not shut his phone off. So I know that if there's an emergency, they'll try me. They know I'm asleep and my ringer's off, so they'll
Mm-hmm.
call. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the habit I've had of, for Hunter, because, I was just always in constant touch with him. But
I've when you when you speak to a lower vibration, I keep going back to when the country was literally shut down with COVID.
Mhm.
You could feel
Mhm.
a different energy.
Totally.
It was so nice.
Totally.
It was so nice. And I feel like we're right back to where we were and kind of even worse
Oh, yeah.
prior to that. It was just it really gave us a reset. So I think for me, I could probably put the phone down a little bit more, um, to give myself micro resets, I think, you
Mhm.
know.
The thing I
Uh
think most about when COVID happened and we couldn't, or we weren't supposed to drive or anything, and
hmm
there was a peacefulness outside.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and I noticed so many more animals coming out, like so many deers. And we were at my parents' house at the time, and they live in Sarasota and they're in a neighborhood that has, lots of other houses. So it's not like they're in the forest or anything.
Right.
There would be families of deers and all these birds and all this stuff. And I was like, this is amazing. Even they were
Yeah.
feeling. And
Right.
um, yeah, I mean, it not that I ever want to see that happen again because so many people suffered and died and everything.
Yes,
But
no, but I think that was the universe saying, okay, you're headed in a really bad direction. We need to stop here and we just need to all regroup. But I think if we could just individually or household wise or family wise do some micro resets, I think it will be I'm really hoping and I'm uh, going to go with that the anger and the and the reactiveness
yeah,
will
very.
lower a little bit,
I
you
hope
know.
so. Because if we listen to the news, we're all about to, you know, just go
It's gonna
into
be Armageddon.
total
Yeah.
darkness and despair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just it's just not going to happen. It's just we have to, we have control over our lives and our thoughts and our reactions, like you had said before. So,
Yeah.
great conversation. I think it's important to have this whole social media, and I would love to hear what any of our, listeners think about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, guys, reach out. I love the fact that some people have reached out to you wanting to be a guest. I think, I think we're almost ready, don't you? I think we're almost ready
Yeah, I think we're definitely
to
ready.
expose ourselves to another human on here.
We can do a trial run. How's that?
I will not be wearing any flash dance
Yeah,
sweatshirts
we don't need you to expose
any
yourself
longer
that way.
for the rest of my life. But yeah, I think I would love to encourage people to take micro resets um throughout the day, throughout the week, either with you by yourself, with your partner, with your family, and just, talk or don't.
Yeah, play a game. One of the best things, like so I see my parents every week. I'm so blessed to still have them in my life. And we play cards. And oh my gosh, the conversations that happen when you're playing a game or playing cards,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because you're not like, there's not that, you're not so focused on making eye contact with
Right.
the person and like, try to make conversation. You're just like playing cards and talking and laughing. And it's just awesome. So
Yeah,
I recommend that too.
I love it. All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Deb, till next time, let's check in with each other, do a couple of micro resets between now and next week when we talk again. And love you to death. Namaste, love.
Stay, everybody. Have a
Take
great
care,
day.
everybody.